Did you have to follow because of the war?
Oh, we were really strict with all our coupons. We had coupons for food and for sugar, and that was really a big thing for the people on the farm because we canned all our stuff and made jellies and everything, and we had to really be careful with that. And then we had gas coupons. We only got so many a month. I forgot how much we got, and we had coffee. And there was a lot of things that were rationing. We call that rationing. Rationing.
And Millie, do you remember having to ration things when you were in downtown St. Louis during the war?
Food. Having what?
Food.
To ration things?
Oh, yeah, a lot of things were rationed. Food. Shoes were rationed, purses were rationed,
food,
all kinds of things.
I understand that the bridge going into Washington from Augusta, I understand that there was like a toll if you drove across. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And do you remember the charges? What it cost?
20 cents per person in a car.
75 cents for a car, and every passenger was 20 cents extra. And when you walked across, it was 25 cents for round trip. And we walked across that many a time because I worked in Washington. And we'd walk across the bridge, and then our folks, Marge's family or some other friends of mine, they'd pick us up on the other side. And they saved that money because it was too expensive because nobody was making much money. We was making 40 cents an hour at the shoe factory.
Now, how did your life change because of the war?
It has changed quite a bit. I mean, slowly. But at first, it was kind of bad. Well, the servicemen all came home. And I got married about 6 months after the war. And to find stuff, you couldn't find anything. You couldn't find no stoves or refrigerators or anything. And we didn't have any. But I think I give that to Annie before I think she's got that down.
Okay. And Millie, how were people treated differently because of their race or their heritage in the area that you lived at the time? Were people treated differently because of their race or heritage because of the war?
Well, I don't really couldn't tell.
Okay, and Dottie, can you remember anything?
No, they weren't too kind to the 4Fs guys. They didn't make it. They always call them 4Fers.
Explain a 4F.
Yeah,
what is a 4F?
Well, they didn't make the grade on their health and different things. I don't remember what they all.
They were not into the service.
They were exempt.
They were exempt. They call them 4Fs.
And what did people do for entertainment during the war? What did you do?
We go to the show. We go once in a while for a little party.
Did they have dances?
Yes, we had dances.
And I know in the past you've talked about when the servicemen came in downtown St. Louis that a lot of times you would always like make them feel good and invite them to dances. Is that right?
At the beauty shop.
I remember.
The beauty shop, when they had their convention downtown, they'd have it. And I'd go from Washington to St. Louis, and we met a lot of nice guys. And they were always glad to have somebody to talk to.
And what did people, the general people, what did they think about the enemy?
Well, they didn't care for the Germans at all. They sure did. They didn't like Hitler at all. And the military men that were there, I don't know, like my husband, he sure didn't care for Hitler.
Now, being of German heritage so long ago, being so far removed from that, people didn't treat you any differently, did they?
No, they didn't treat us any different.
Okay. And Millie, do you remember Pearl Harbor Day?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
We worked as usual, and we got off, we heard about it, and we didn't realize how bad it was.
Yeah, I guess I was still at home yet on the farm when that happened because I wasn't working in Washington at that time yet. But then we had a radio, but we didn't listen to that very much. You know, that was just occasionally, not like they do now. Well, nowadays they got the TV and everything, and you can keep up with everything. But that was a terrible thing to happen to us.
And V-Day, what can you tell us about V-Day?
I told Annie all about that already. She's got that all down. I said,
Okay.
we had to drive all around town to find some beer that night. We couldn't find no beer, and we finally found some, and I stayed at home, but she went downtown and she danced on the street, and they took a piano out of one of the...
Who did?
The guys downtown. They took a piano out of...
Down in Washington?
Yeah, on the main drag down there, and they put a piano outside, and they were playing piano all night long and dancing.
Dancing in the streets,
Yeah,
celebrating.
Dancing in the streets.
Celebrating.
And Millie, in St. Louis, when V-Day came, can you tell me about your experience?
I don't remember what we really did. I can't remember.